Hello and welcome to episode 25 of Establish the Collection. I'm Cody Main, joined as always by my co-host, Gary Hartman. Gary, opening night of what feels like the third NBA season in the last calendar year. You're back on the grind. How's it going, buddy?
It's good, man. I think that is because it is the third NBA season in the last calendar year, but it's great, man. It was good. First night of the season. Some great games tonight. Lakers, Warriors on right now. Enjoyed Nets, Bucks. Enjoyed seeing the Nets get whooped. Really just excited to have basketball back. It's great for the hobby, obviously, because basketball is still the king of the American sports card world right now. And it's just a lot of fun to have football, basketball, baseball playoffs on all at once. It's a great time to be a sports fan.
Yeah, it is sports euphoria right now. We've got MLB playoffs, NBA's kicking off. We've got, obviously, NFL is in full swing as we talk about. Gary, we'll have to get an F1 minute eventually from you at some point, and we'll have plenty of UFC updates upcoming. But we've got a very special show today because we are joined, if you're watching on YouTube, we're joined by a very young man who is crushing it with I Got It. He is crushing it in the game used signed memorabilia world. Young man who has helped bringing digital collectibles to the masses. A young man who, if you are watching on YouTube, is killing both Gary and I in the background game. Just disgraceful for us. Noah, welcome to the show. How's it going, buddy?
It's going great. And wow, that was such a fantastic introduction. Wow, I'm like blushing, but I appreciate the love on the backdrop. I just moved into my new apartment and knowing that I was going to be on like shows this week, that was the very first thing I had to do. You guys can't see my lawn chair and bean bags in my living room situation. So it's I'm glad we at least got this part of it.
All right. Well, I mentioned you're with I Got It. There might be a large portion of our audience that is starting to familiarize themselves with I Got It or wondering what it is that I Got It is and what the platform is. So for any of your audience that is new to the platform, why don't you just bring them up to speed on what it is that you guys do?
Yeah, so I mean, we're kind of quickly emerging. So for all those out there that haven't heard of us yet, it's completely understandable. But we're expecting to make some noise. We're a marketplace technology company, and our goal is to partner with the best organizations and best players in sports. You can see that with our physical memorabilia side, where we're partnering with teams like the Milwaukee Bucks, the New Orleans Saints, Kansas City Chiefs. Although they haven't had too great of a start this year, we are partnering with the Chargers, so they're at least giving us some hope.
All right.
We run auctions on the team's mobile and web apps, so you can get autographs, game used jerseys, cool experiences, and things like that. It's kind of been like an easy transition into the NFT space, where we launched probably a couple of months ago now. We launched the Detroit Pistons NFT championship collection, which went really well. We were excited about that. And now we're super excited to kick off our charter membership NFT program. We'll get into it, but we're going to be rolling out with guys with the likes of Mikey Williams, Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr., Vlad Jr. We got a ton of big names, and it's a really exciting time.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And thanks for joining us. I mean, when we first started linking up with you and talking, obviously, I think we both realized quickly there was a lot of natural interest on both sides here because, what you guys are doing, obviously, we've all been to arenas and stadiums where you see the jerseys and signed memorabilia you can bid on and stuff. But bringing that portion to the internet, making it more modern for people who want to get their hands on physical memorabilia, which is still a very big piece of the collectible space. But really, what you guys have in mind for linking up some of the top names in sports and getting them involved with their own NFTs, getting them involved from the ground up with a already built up infrastructure to kind of, own their own collectibles in this new digital world, new digital space is something that's very exciting. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about exactly what you have going out for somebody like Mikey Williams, who's one of the top young high school basketball players in the country right now. And I know, it's something that I always was interested in. I think I told you this on our first talk was the idea of being able to invest in a player from when they're really young or about to go into college or whatever it is, just kind of just seeing how that investment goes throughout their career. I always thought, before NIL, and sorry, I'll stop rambling in a second here, but before NIL, I always thought that, hey, there should be a way that, because these college players aren't getting paid, there's a way you should be able to invest in their futures and be able to get paid out on that on the back end when they're a pro. And it just seems like ideas like this and what you have going on is the first step towards something like that being possible.
Yeah, and I think you touched on a couple of interesting points that I'll try to get through. But I mean, we're kind of our goal is to usher in this new era of sports memorabilia and the way you can interact with your favorite fan or with your favorite teams, favorite players. Like I've been a memorabilia collector my entire life. I grew up going to like memorabilia shows on weekends and, the middle of nowhere with my dad and getting some stuff. So it was kind of like an easy transition for me. But, what we're doing with this whole NFT space is being able to, take that same essence of being able to bring home your game used jersey or something like that. And, now it's an NFT and your digital collectibles. With the charter membership NFT program, like you said, like it's just really kind of this uncharted territory that, we're in right now, especially with NIL, and Mikey's kind of like the perfect example. I mean, if you think back when like LeBron was in high school, back at St. Vincent St. Mary's in 2003, he was probably getting paid, but I mean, there's never been a high schooler with this much fame and this much popularity that's making this much money. And it's like this really kind of thing that we're all trying to figure out. It was kind of like a natural fit with the program that we're starting to develop because, it's not just Mikey that we're going to be launching. We're trying to, like I said, we're trying to change the game. And it's, Mikey is at the forefront. I mean, who better than a 17-year-old, business mogul who's essentially built himself up from absolutely nothing, and to create one of the best brands, if not the best brand in high school, the D'Amelio sisters, whatever. But, it's really crazy. And, this whole idea that you can, if you think that Mikey Williams or any of like our other players that we'll be rolling out are the next Kyrie Irving, the next Donovan Mitchell, the next Michael Jordan, you can now have the opportunity to benefit and reap the rewards just as that player does as he progresses both on and off the court. So for Mikey, when he gets drafted number 1 overall, you'll be able to get the follow-on event NFT. When he gets his first NBA championship, first MVP, his first sneaker deal, his first, 10 million followers on Instagram, his first, big charity event. There's all these things that really encompass the player that makes them, whole. We're in this era where people, just because of social media, know players better off the court than they do on the court. Like I love Devin Booker, but it's mostly because his Instagram is wild. And like, it's, but like that same sense is like, you can kind of grow with the player. And, the whole idea is that we wanted to create a way for you to be able to monetize your belief and your like sicko sports knowledge in these young athletes that, hey, that guy's going to be the next big thing. Why not be able to take advantage of it? And so we really found like this great avenue with NFTs. And I'll give a lot of credit to my exec team. They come from a financial background, working on Wall Street. So we've been able to kind of approach this from that financial investment banking background of, how can we really portray, this program in a way that makes sense for, young kids who are, Mikey's fans who are, 13, 14, 15, who know nothing about NFTs, but as well as something that can also be understood by, the high-end NFT enthusiasts who are buying and selling CryptoPunks and things like that. So it spans a very wide range, and it's really interesting. And the last point I want to bring up that you addressed was, like, there's never been a way, when LeBron James rookie card sells for $1.5 million, he doesn't make anything off that. And so what's really cool about what we're doing is Mikey and all of our other athletes are the largest shareholders in the actual charter NFTs. So when, his charter NFT goes and resells for thousands of dollars, Mikey, will obviously make a creator royalty on that, but as well, he'll be holding a large majority of the the currency that's available. So that'll only help benefit him. So it's this way where, if you think about decentralization and really taking away from like these big, conglomerates that are taking away from the individual, like this is a way we can give it back to them and help them really take, all the blood, sweat, and tears that they're putting in and be able to reap the rewards from it.
Yeah, I think that last point that you mentioned is so awesome because it is mutually beneficial for the athletes and for us as collectors and shareholders and investors and just, just fans. Most importantly, that when players like Mikey and baseball players that we mentioned, Tatis and Vlad Guerrero and Acuna and these guys that we're going to mention and talk about upcoming, but it's just such a great way for us to benefit as they benefit and for them to benefit alongside it too. So I think that's an interesting point that you bring up. I think a lot of our listeners probably got into the NFT world through Top Shot last year, as Gary and I have talked about quite a bit. I just want to ask you maybe for whatever you can share before, because I know the Mikey Drop, we're recording Tuesday night. Mikey Drop is upcoming on Wednesday, and then we'll have subsequent drops for these MLB players coming up soon. Can you talk about just kind of the feel that collectors and investors will get from purchasing NFTs on the I Got It platform? What type of experience should they expect?
Yeah. So something that was a big takeaway from our Detroit Pistons project was on the creative itself. We really prioritize and strive to create something that was completely different than the other sports NFTs that were out there. Obviously, we're not in the highlights game. That's Dapper Labs. They are absolutely incredible at what they do. We're not trying to compete with that. We're trying to do something completely different. So what we create our charter program is you'll essentially be getting, it is a passport of that player. So if you think about you get this passport that has its stamp. So if you were the one that got this NFT, on Wednesday, and were the one that hey, that 17-year-old is the next big thing, your passport's going to fill up with all those stamps that as he progresses throughout his career, that's going to make it more valuable. The NFTs that we'll be releasing with the next couple of weeks, the following NFTs, which hint, one of the first ones is 50-point game from a couple of weeks ago. That will be so much more valuable because there's just not going to be as many in population versus 10, 15 years from now when he's on his fourth MVP and 5-time NBA champion. There'll be a lot out there by then. So the opportunity to really get your foot in the door is going to pay its dividends down the line. And so it'll have kind of built in that early adopter feeling where even if you're the guy who got, his first NBA championship NFT, there were still people that saw this coming when he was 17, which is the craziest part about it. So there's a lot of kind of those built-in feelings that just come associated with what it actually is, which is, as a sports fan and as someone who spends way too much time building franchises in 2K and everything, to be able to see that in a player, I think is really invaluable.
Yeah, I think this is just definitely the next level of sports fandom. So I'm curious, when we mint our Mikey Williams NFTs or we mint our Fernando Tatis NFTs, have you guys decided on mint counts? Are those going to be capped? Will there be subsequent mint runs after for the very initial launch, or is it what's kind of the thought process from the I Got It team there?
So tomorrow we will be minting the total amount, to understand, we have our I Got It maximum mint guarantee, which means for the rest of his career, we will not mint any more charter NFTs. We will only be minting the event follow-on NFTs. But so how it works is, like I said, Mikey is the largest shareholder. So on Wednesday, we're going to be releasing a significant amount of those charter NFTs. But in 5 years, when these NFTs are worth a lot more, Mikey will have the freedom, and like I said, our team will be working closely with him on any decision like this. But he'll be able to release more charter NFT programs available to people to purchase. So that will kind of be the only other time that you will ever be able to get these at retail price is when Mikey himself decides he wants to let more out there. So to reiterate, we will have our maximum mint guarantee, and we're completely transparent with that. We'll have 25,000 of the green NFTs. So if you think about it like American Express, green is the very base level. Those will be about $50. And the whole idea for those is something that, people Mikey's age or people who are not yet into NFTs are able to easily get their foot into the door and learn about NFTs, learn about Mikey, and then learn about the charter membership program. Our second tier will be the platinum level, which will be selling for $200. We'll have 2,500 of those. And those are more of an investment grade type of NFTs. And then we're going to have our black, which are the top of the top. We are only going to have 25 of those total. And those will be selling for $3,000. But with that, for whoever buys, the first one will get a Mikey Punk, which we've created 25 different variations of the Mikey and the famous crypto punks for Mikey that first black holder will be able to purchase. But we're only going to be releasing a very small amount of those on Wednesday. And then, as Mikey's career progresses, again, he's only 17. So hopefully we have a long career for him to be releasing these. But that's honestly what I'm really excited about, is it's totally in his control.
That's awesome. That's awesome, man. I'm very excited to check it out. And, the reason that I think we also wanted to have you on is because it really is being able to look at it, obviously as a fan, as a collectible, and that's awesome. But, really a different angle of looking at a sports collectible as an investment. And as you said, the people on your back end come from that finance world, are looking at it, taking it from that approach. And I think that's great. And that's how kind of the angle Cody and I look at collectibles from as well. So. Really cool.
Exactly. And I think that's like part of what make NFTs enjoyable is making money, right? I mean, not a ton of people are in there just to own the things. A lot of people like to be able to profit off of it. And
of course,
what better way to truly test your sports knowledge than, to actually to have a financial gain from it. So we really think it's an innovative idea.
And I think it balances out the short term of the NFT world that probably a lot of us come from, and the sports card world that we're all familiar with. So much short term flipping and seasons by season flipping, with this style of investing where you're investing in a player at 17 and just hoping for him or banking on him to become the type of athlete that you think he's going to become by the end of his career. Just offers some sort of long term upside too, if you're right, which we think we will be, right?
Yeah, no, into like the same card analogy. Like, imagine if you were able to get the Michael Jordan rookie card when it dropped, but then every single year you get another Michael Jordan rookie or Michael Jordan card for $1, right? So that's right. Like it makes sense when you put it kind of like that. But I also should have mentioned all of our event follow-on NFTs are $1. So I mean, we're really motivated to make this financial investment tool for everyone.
Very cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So will charter members, will they have first access to the event NFTs? Will they be airdropped the NFTs? What will that process look like? So when Mikey signs his first shoe deal, will everyone that's a charter member get one of those NFTs? Will they be purchased on the marketplace?
So only charter members will be allowed to purchase the event follow-on NFTs for that $1.
Okay.
And so, that holder will be able to keep it. They'll be able to sell it for a profit. They'll be able to do whatever they want with it. And, a lot of the feedback we've been getting is people really want to, buy a couple of these so that they can sell some, they can keep some, and kind of treat it like, stockpiling as a stock or like a crypto, so that you have a lot that you can make, moves with.
That makes a lot of sense. Yeah.
That's awesome. So if our listeners want to get involved, become a charter member, how do they do that?
So tomorrow on Wednesday, we're going to be dropping on the I Got It app website. You will be pumping out news all day, and we'll be doing giveaways in the I Got It Fan Cave Discord. Mikey will be joining on Wednesday for a Discord AMA session. He'll be giving away NFTs. We're gonna be pumping it out in the fan cave. So that will be kind of the main place to get all of the VIP insight, but it will be live on the I Got It app website.
Awesome.
And we'll drop those links in the show notes on this episode, so you guys have access to those as well. I know, we didn't even really mention it, but Mikey's got like 3.3 million Instagram followers. I know I heard that he's doing an interview on ESPN on Wednesday. So I would expect plenty of traffic in the Discord and on the I Got It platform. So very excited to see how that drop goes. And then the subsequent drops that we should get into now before we let you go, because we do want to talk a little bit of baseball, and we want to talk about what's upcoming. So Mikey's happening Wednesday. Most of our listeners that are finding this show on YouTube and on Apple iTunes will have probably will be finding that after the drop, but they're not missing out on upcoming drops for some of the most premier MLB players in the world. So who do you got upcoming?
Well, I want to preface in that I am the biggest baseball fan. And so for the longest time, we did no business in baseball. So to finally it's all happened within probably the last couple of months, to bring in like the players I'm about to mention, it just kind of transformed the business. And as a fan, it's super exciting. This week, we're going to be dropping charter NFTs for Fernando Tatis Jr., Ronald Acuna Jr., Vlad Guerrero Jr., Shane Bieber, and Joe Musgrove. So we're really excited about that lineup. And I mean, the best thing about baseball is there's no trading cards, there's no memorabilia if it weren't for the small little thin cards in the back of tobacco packs. So it's really coming, bringing this all full circle, more than a century later. It's really exciting. It's really, I as a fan, I get so excited talking about it.
Yeah, me too. And it's so exciting. I mean, some great names there, obviously, in Acuna, Tatis, and Vlad are names that we've talked about a lot on this podcast for good reason. Obviously, they were the big names, for coming into the season, and and Musgrove and Bieber as well, two all-star pitchers, Cy Young candidates, or in the last couple of years. So very exciting stuff. And I think, and as far as I'm concerned, if you're a believer in baseball collectibles and anything like that, you can't go wrong with those three names in Tatis, Vlad, and Acuna. So I would encourage our listeners to check that out as well, because always want to look into ways to diversify on those three guys, especially as in their physical space, those pop counts continue to rise on guys like that. You want to be able to figure out ways to diversify your investments in guys like that. No doubt about it.
Yeah, and it's crazy because, they've already all accomplished so much, but Vlad's 22, Tatis is 22, Acuna's 24, I think, Bieber's 26. Like, there's still so much to come. Vlad, if it weren't for Ohtani being the next coming of Babe Ruth, like, Vlad would be the AL MVP and the American League. Like,
he had one of the sickest seasons this past year. If you look at those numbers, it's rare error. That's the season he put up. But yeah, he just had the unfortunate luck of competing with Ohtani there. But yeah, I totally agree with you for sure. So if you'll indulge us a little bit, we want to talk a little bit on this episode about what's going on in the MLB playoffs right now,
Bring it on.
And the card market particularly. But obviously, I think a good place to start would be talking about Ronald Acuna, because he's in your job here. The Atlanta Braves are currently in the NLCS. They are up 2-1 as of this evening. The Dodgers just saved their season on a guy, but on the back of a guy I want to talk about in a second here. But the Braves doing it without Acuna, which is amazing. Just think about what this team would be doing if he was there. And yeah, they're 2 wins away now from making the World Series. So the Braves. We've spoken a little bit about them, Cody, not too much. I think we were talking about them more when Acuna was playing, but if they make it to the big stage here, I still think there's some interesting names to keep an eye on for Atlanta for sure.
Yeah, who are you most interested in? Because we talked a long time ago, even before the playoffs kicked off, about buying windows on Acuna stuff, and we thought we would maybe find a bottom at some point before he returned from injury. Doesn't seem like we're getting there. It's been pretty flat lately on most of his flagship stuff, his Bowman Chrome stuff, his Topps Chrome stuff. So, who on the Braves are you interested in? Is it buying time on Acuna yet? Should we continue to wait before we get news that he's returning from injury? What do we do with Acuna right now?
For me, go ahead. No, you go. Yeah,
I was just saying, like, it's interesting because, like, you almost want to say, obviously, this is probably the lowest point of his career, being hurt, but just the essence that he brings to that team, I feel like he's always kind of a part there. Like, whether it's like Albie's like repping him or like any of those guys, like you feel like Acuna's still there, still with the team. And I think, like, when you think Braves, you think Acuna. I would imagine that the average fan doesn't even know that he's hurt. And so, to be able to like still have that essence, I think that just from the memorabilia side, like he is one of the game's preeminent stars, and they're not. Coincidentally, we have guys like Tatis and Vlad who are doing crazy things, but there are not many players in the history of the game that have been able to do what Acuna has done and be able to bring that swagger to the clubhouse. And you see it when they go on these runs and they have these big innings, like they have that swagger that, the New York Yankees clearly didn't show, but that's neither here nor there. But it's the whole vibe that he brought to that team. So I'm not sure from a memorabilia perspective what you could see, but you can definitely still feel his presence even though he's not in the lineup.
Yeah, I agree. I was going to say, Cody, I think it's totally fine if you want to buy Acuna right now. If his stuff is plateaued, like I think you're still going to make some money on that when he does return. So whether we're talking about his I Got It launch coming up or we're talking about, just his physical cardboard space, I'm totally comfortable buying Acuna if you want to do that. The guy I want to talk about here, though, is Ozzie Albies, because Noah just mentioned him. He is, after Acuna and then after Freddie Freeman, who I don't know what we have to do for him to get love in the hobby, but Albies is the guy I'm interested in there. Still a very young kid. I want to say mid-20s and switch hitting infielder. Yeah, he's 24 also. There's a baby. And this card, I actually have one here. I don't have it graded, though. So this card is what is it from? I believe 2016, something like that.
Wow.
2018
awesome.
Topps. 2018 Topps. So 2018 Topps, or this is just the paper, but this jersey in paper or chrome is such a buy for me because the paper, And a PSA 10, I think, is just a pop of like 1,000 or so and is in like the $25 range. So I think that's just such a strong investment. If he can go out and make a World Series right now, and the Chrome, same card, pop of 1340 is under a $40 card. That's up like 12% over the last 2 weeks during this playoff run. But even then, it was a low $30 card. Like, I think there's plenty of room for both of those cards to grow. For, one of the young all-star hitters in this league that's kind of, in the biggest stage of his career right now, and he's probably not, I don't even know if he's hit his prime yet. And, kind of really has all five tools as well. So definitely a guy that I'm interested in Ozzy Albies as far as if the Braves are really able to make a run.
Yeah, we've talked about how high those pop counts have gotten on some of those young players like Lewis Robert and some of those guys that are approaching 10,000 in their tops and their Bowman Chrome products. So getting that at the pop count that you mentioned it seems like a pretty good buy.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you guys. You guys are obviously very knowledgeable in the card space. Like, do you think that the future is physical cards or digital cards?
It's a good question.
I had to ask.
No, you're good. You're good.
I think both of us have been fairly consistent on throughout the podcast and throughout our investing strategies that it can be it can be physical and digital. Although there are some signs, I think, recently, and as Gary and I have talked about on recent podcasts, with base PSA 10 cards kind of plummeting and there being more of a shift, which could just be a shift in the physical world too, towards obviously the more rare stuff, the silvers and the parallels and the RPAs and things like that. But seeing kind of the bottom fall out a little bit on some of the base PSA 10 stuff is a little concerning for the physical world. But I'm definitely firmly of the belief that it can be physical and digital. Although I'm starting to lean a little bit more towards the digital side.
Yeah, and I'll answer that too. So I lean still more towards the physical side. And, for me, seeing the bottom fall out on that base stuff is actually just a healthy thing for the market because it just boomed so much during the pandemic. And you want to kind of see that boom settle back into what is a healthy space. And I think, seeing that it really it's rebounded well, aside from the super high pop base, ultra modern stuff. So that doesn't scare me at all because the rare stuff, the older stuff, the vintage stuff, even just modern kind of early 2010 stuff that has low pop counts is doing just fine. And then you look at the numbers that the PAs and everything just agree to with Fanatics and the amount of money that is being pushed into this stuff from, series of investments all over the place, in fractional and in physical, all of it. It doesn't scare me. And but I do think that it's an and. Like I'm a firm believer in the NFT space. I understand that everything is shifting digital, but I think there's both enough nostalgia and pure collectors out there to keep the physical space alive as well. So yeah, I mean, I know we are one of our founders and bosses, Adam Levitan, totally disagrees with us on this one. He's a firm believer that everything is going digital, and I respect that opinion for sure. But yeah, I mean, I think if that does come, I think we have a very long time till it truly takes over the space. But I'm a real believer that there's a room for both.
Did you ever hear about that not to shout out another project, but that slabs? Like, I had gotten a couple. I thought that it was literally digital actual cards. Like, I got a 2013 Bowman Mike Trout rookie card. I got a 2019 Zion rookie card. Like, and what's cool about it is you can burn the NFT and get the physical card. So I thought that was like a cool project.
Oh, wow.
I got absolutely hosed on what I paid for it, but I think it's cool as like a memorabilia collector.
Yeah, that is cool. No, I don't know much about it, but I'm curious about it for sure.
And Panini is doing that stuff too. Not that Panini is going to continue with licenses likely too much longer as they give way to Fanatics. But the Panini NFT projects where you get the NFT and the physical card. I know Gary's had some experience with that too. But interesting projects out there that are kind of marrying both worlds, and a lot of the NFT projects that add physical utility around it. I think those are pretty cool as well.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, I agree. All right, let's just stick to the NLCS today because I don't think Noah or I want to talk about the Red Sox. So I'll just say the Red Sox are looking like they're making another World Series. And if and when that happens, we'll talk about them then. I have no interest in talking about the Red Sox or the Astros right now, but let's talk about the Braves. Let's talk about the Braves opponent.
Wait, real quick, can we just acknowledge that Carlos Correa called the Red Sox a bunch of cheaters? Like, are you kidding me?
Tea, meat, kettle, pot, meat, kettle, black, whatever. You know what I'm talking about. All right. Anyway, so yeah, the Braves opponent, the Dodgers, they just they were about to go down 3-0. Cody Bellinger puts them on their back. Young star, former MVP, lefty, young kid at batted, kind of hit massive home run, had a really down season, by far his worst regular season of his career, but has looked just like the old Cody Bellinger of old in the playoffs, making him a buy for me right now because his stuff really kind of dipped throughout the season, for good reason. If you kind of look at his Topps update, paper Topps update is at 2017 Topps. That is a pop of 2,700. So not crazy for an MVP ultra modern stuff. That is still down over the last month or so, about 9%. You can get that thing for around $60 right now. If he continues this tear, he can brings them back on the brink. Dodgers win this series. They go on to win the World Series. I see that going right back up to where it was last year when they won the World Series, which kind of peaked at around $260. I don't know if it'll get all the way back up to that, but I definitely see it get back into that 3-figure range for sure. So you could do that. You could do some of his Bowman stuff. I think this is a good buying window still for Cody Bellinger, and I don't think you have too much longer for it if the Dodgers advance.
Well, think about it. Like, this guy came up as a first baseman. They threw him in the outfield. He all of a sudden became one of the best outfielders on that team. Like, what can't this guy do? We saw it in the playoff run last year. Like, this guy's a star, and we just look at him. He has that it factor. Like, whatever the it factor is, he has it, and he plays in a huge market. And it's just the way he plays baseball. It's like so refreshing to see. So I mean, the year he had, obviously that's not a Cody Bellinger type year, but I mean, we can't expect this to happen again. I mean, you saw what he's capable of doing. Like, that guy, and he's still so young too. Like, I mean, that guy's going to be a perennial, MVP type player.
Yep, you nailed it. He just had a down regular season. We see Bryce Harper do that all the time. Come back strong. So I'm expecting this Bellinger playoff run to go right into next season, and he'll be just fine. No, you got anything else on baseball, on the playoffs right now? Anything else you wanna touch on?
I can't even bring the words, but I mean, I don't understand. Maybe you can explain why the Yankees brought back Aaron Boone. I mean, I understand he's a puppet for the front office, but I went to probably 25 Yankee games this year, and none of them looked like they wanted to be here. I wanted to be there more than they did, and I had to pay to be there. They are getting paid to be there. Like, there was no fun until what's his name came up, and
Rizzo,
the shortstop.
Velasquez. Yeah.
Velasquez. Yeah. There was no fun in the dugout until he came up. Like, until we had the turtle, thing going on. Like, just no one. It wasn't like, you see the Braves. They're having fun. There's all this emotion. Like, they're active in the dugout. Like, they all look like they're friends. Like, they want to be there together. The Yankees, there's none of it, and that's not the front office. So.
Yeah. No. You and I are very aligned on this one. The Yankees are an absolute disgrace. There's just no way around it. And it's a shame because it's been in a huge part of my life. I also probably went to about 10 or 12 games this past year. I do that every year. It's a thing I share with my dad. I share with my grandpa. It's something I've cared more about my entire life. I was on the phone with my grandpa this morning, he was talking about I was going to write an editorial into the Post, to address to Mr. Steinbrenner. And I think it starts there, because Hal Steinbrenner does not give a crap. And, it trickles right down, and he gave Cashman way too much power. Cashman needs to go too, as much as I like everything he's done, but it starts from the top. I would love for Hal to sell the team. I'd love for Cashman to go, and Boone should have been way gone, let alone getting a 3-year freaking extension. It's unfathomable. This team has no heart. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. Clearly that's what's happening with this team year in, year out. Now we see what Boston and freaking Houston are doing on the big stage. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I'm going to sell all my Yankees cards. No, I'm not, but I'm very, very angry. I'm very angry at what's going on with the Yankees. So, that's it. I needed to rant. I needed to put it out.
I'm not sure how I'm supposed to feel sandwiched between two rabid Yankees fans who are just going through this emotional. I feel like a therapist. Just let it out. Let it out.
That's it. That's all we have to say. And go ahead.
It is funny because, one thing, and please don't hold it against me, is during COVID, I was buying and selling PlayStation and everything, and I actually sold one to Glaber. And I love Glaber. I think I thought he was the future of Major League Baseball, and
me too,
it pains me every time he goes up there and strikes out or drops a ball at shortstop, thinking if I hadn't sold him that PlayStation, maybe he would have been practicing a little more. I don't know.
You know what?
This is what
I was gonna start talking about Glaber and his market and how I think he's just not good at baseball anymore. But let's end there. I think that's perfect. You know what? Thank you so much for joining us, man. Everyone, go check out I Got It. Download the app. Check out the Discord. We'll put all the links in the show notes. Exciting launches coming up this week. By the time you're listening to this, hopefully we're going to try to turn this around for Wednesday night. You can still get involved on the charter drop. So get in there. Mikey Williams, one of the best young basketball players in the country. It's a super exciting opportunity if you're interested in long-term investing, especially, and if you're just a hoops head like a lot of you are. So, Noah, thank you so much for joining us. Anything else before we let you go here?
No, thank you guys so much for having me. It was an absolute blast. Always enjoy talking how poor New York sports are going. So I'm always glad, but I appreciate the love and look forward to a pretty successful week. So look forward to seeing everyone there.
Yeah, good luck. And, we'll definitely have you back on in the future. We'll see how everything's going for you guys.
Just wanted to say thanks again to Noah from I Got It for joining us to discuss their new charter membership NFTs that will be launching Wednesday. If you guys are listening to the show after Wednesday, go check out I Got It on Twitter. Their handle is I Got It Auction, at I Got It Auction. Check out their Discord where Noah and others will be dropping information. Gary and I will hopefully be in there shortly, interacting with community members, discussing the project. Discord.gg/IGI. We will drop those links in the show notes as well. Again, he mentioned the Mikey Williams drop, massive drop, super electric young basketball player. Hopefully has a very long NBA career, just an extremely massive following. He's going to be on ESPN on Wednesday. So the fact that they're willing to promote on our show, our little niche podcast is awesome. So go show them some love if you would. We wanted to transition a little bit from the baseball talk that we left you off with and Gary's frustrations with the New York Yankees and his jubilation with his New York Knicks. NBA opening night tonight, Tuesday night. We're recording as the game is going to halftime now. So, Gary, how are you feeling about NBA opening night? You're back on the grind. How are you feeling about your New York Knicks?
Yeah, I am feeling great, man. Like I'm just so excited to have hoops back. I didn't realize how excited I was going to be because we're back to a normal NBA schedule where it's starting in the middle of October, only week 5 or 6 of the NFL season. And I thought I was so entrenched in football. I'm head down, grinding NFL DFS every week, seemingly, but really every day. That I just didn't know if I get myself hyped up for NBA, but yet today woke up and it felt like Christmas morning, man. I was so pumped. Helped write up the top plays article for ETR again today. So kind of just jumped right back into the groove. Crazy. It's only been only 10 to 12 weeks since Giannis hoisted that Larry O'Brien, but I'm so pumped to have the basketball back on a nightly basis because it's just so great. We have football 3 days a week right now. The Thursday night game usually sucks. So let's call it 2 games a week that we really care about, but have NBA every night. Throw on League Pass. It's just, for me as a hoops fan, there's nothing like it.
There's a little nostalgia now built in too, because when we kicked off this podcast, it was, I think, April. It was the heart of basketball season. It was what we were, my TV's over here. I was watching the games as we're recording every night. I absolutely love when NBA season's back. It's really when the sports world kicks off. In my opinion, we've got NBA now and NFL. So it seems like sports definitely takes center stage during this time. Any takeaways from a collectibles aspect? Let's keep it NFT related, as we just discussed. I Got It's NFT launch. Any collectibles thoughts through the first 2 games? Any macro collectibles thoughts as we look to platforms like NBA Top Shot for our collecting future?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway is that Giannis looks just as good as he did in the finals last year. I mean, if you watch that game tonight, Milwaukee won 127-104. The man had 32 points, 14 rebounds, 7 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal to the tune of 66 DraftKings points, because that's the way I look at everything. And I mean, he was doing the same things you saw him do in the finals, which was kind of finally figure out that no one can stop him if he just puts his head down and bullies his way to the rim. And I'm just excited for that, because if we get another year of the Bucks actually trying to defend their title, which I love when teams come back and really try to do that, just be a bully for a whole season.
Yeah.
I mean, I get the Nets are on the road. The Bucks got their rings tonight. The Nets are without Kyrie, yada, yada, but the Bucks looks like a much better team tonight. Again, it's one game. I'm just excited to see if we get this full season of playoff Giannis, because he might walk to another MVP if that's the case, which would be really cool. So for me, as someone that has some of his MVP moments on Top Shot, that series 1 set, which was, they came up, it was like 7 or 8 MVP sets. I think I have the assist out of 499. That I feel good as an owner of a moment like that. And all these, I think he is still one of the safest investments you can have, whether it's physical or digital.
Absolutely. His series 1 Top Shot moments, if digital wins out long term, if Top Shot wins out long term, and I think there's already good reason to believe that they will win out long term. alongside their physical counterparts. He is one of the best investments, I believe, on the site. Alongside guys like LeBron, who's playing now, alongside some of these other guys that we are very excited about, Luka and Zion and some of these other names. So very excited. Any thoughts just on a macro sense as we start to kick off what will be Series 3, as we kick off Top Shot still technically in beta, right? But as we start to kick off where they've got a large following now, a large user base, mint runs are starting to exceed, 25, 30, 40,000. What do you expect from the Series 3 NBA Top Shot moments for this year?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to see what kind of creativity Top Shot can come up with this year. They had a full off season to kind of game plan long and short term strategy. They saw kind of the ups and downs of market movement as the offseason went along. And I think, we were talking a little bit about it a couple of weeks ago as the season kind of crept back up. I think they started to see more users active. I liked a lot of what they did recently with this run it back drop that dropped last week that you and I both were able to get a pack for. We were hoping to do a pack drop or a pack rip on this podcast. We'll talk a little bit about that in a second, but I just, I want to see more of that. I want to see more of, getting us moments from stars like Chris Paul's rookie year, the early LeBron moments. I want to see more rookie stuff. I want to see how creative they can get with this rookie class. I want to see some more of that cool 3-badge stuff, but I would like to see it at lower mint counts. I think those 4,000 mint 3-badge rookies from Series 2 are really good. I'd like to see some more of that. Maybe even some lower mint stuff, that's more affordable. That isn't necessarily the legendary stuff, but maybe you can open up a pack and get lucky the same way I can go to a store and buy a pack and still pull an autograph or something. I would love if those were sprinkled into general Series 3 packs, like an out of 1,000 rookie Cade Cunningham or something. I want to see them be able to hit more at a lower price. I think that would be really cool.
I know that they still have, or at least I think they still have some issues with some rules surrounding that, putting those higher value moments in those low dollar packs that, guys like Panini and Topps are able to skirt around. But I agree with you. That would make the chase a whole lot more fun. I don't need every pack to be plus EV. If I open a $20 pack and I lose $20, so be it. I know every pack's not going to be a hit. Speaking of that run it back pack, it seems like, and I don't know where we're at now as we've waited about a week to open that bad boy up, but seems like that was a plus EV drop for anyone that was able to get them, despite the fact that they were pretty easy to get. But I'm with you. I would love to see some more of that stuff. I think for their base rookies, which, as we talk about on this podcast, coming from the physical world, we think that the rookie moments, the rookie cards are what's going to hold value long-term on the site. So I think that 4,000 mint run is perfect for like a base level, if you will. If you compare that to your base PSA 10 in the physical world, or even maybe a base silver now that pop counts are higher, I think that makes sense, the 4,000. But I would love to see some 2,500, 1,000, 500, 250, as kind of their parallels. And I think packaging on the moments will be important. The creativity that they're able to pull off with the moments themselves. We talked about that MGLE set. I think that is so well done and just clean. Just like we see with gold Panini Prisms. There's just a card that holds value long term. It's a very clean, aesthetically pleasing card. I think that that'll be another thing that will really start to separate itself on Top Shot, is moments and sets that are eye appealing. Not every parallel in Prism or not every parallel in Bowman or Topps is created equal. And I think that will again be one of those things that shows through on Top Shot as well.
Agreed. And one other thing that I think will help it for this season, and we talked a little bit about this when we did the NFL Top Shot episode, but I think just the existence of the NFL Dapper Labs product will help the NBA one as well. I think once it's an accepted universe, marketplace, currency for collectibles for two of the major American sports, I think that really helps move things along and is a big, tip of the cap to the digital people, the digital wins out people, I think, and I think it'll drive more people to the site. It'll, assuming that you can kind of cross over currency for both. I think that's just going to be something that'll be really interesting to see how both of those take off. And it seems like we're probably only, hopefully, no more than a month or so away. I would hope to get that NFL Top Shot off the ground. So I think that's going to be something that will help out the overall digital collectible space, particularly with NBA and NFL, obviously.
Yeah, as you mentioned, just having both sports on the same platform, it's just going to create this constant flow of money as people are buying and selling on the marketplace. And love Top Shot's ease of use. I think it's still the easiest NFT platform to use. It doesn't feel like you're buying and trading NFTs like we're we're accustomed to, like on OpenSea and having to understand MetaMask and all the ins and outs of blockchain. So I'm very excited about Top Shot this year. I wish we could rip these run it back packs, because I think you've got a Shaq sitting in your pack. I think I've got an AI sitting in my pack. Very excited to rip these things open, but for whatever reason, pack openings are unavailable right now. Any changes to that? No, doesn't look like it.
See, we gotta come on, Top Shot. What are we doing? We got a little red. We got a little red for whatever reason. No, we're poking some fun. But of course, the time that we decided to record, Top Shot's got some maintenance going on that is not allowing us to rip our packs right now. But one of us will at least record one of ours, and we'll post it on socials, because they got the record pack opening button on there, so we'll be able to do that. So I think we're excited about that. But yeah, just pumped about the NBA season starting right now. You and I are about to get off this, watch the second half of Lakers Warriors. I'm really excited about that. Really pumped to watch number 6 LeBron again. He switched the number up.
I don't know what he's doing, man, but if it leads to another title, I will take it. But
yeah,
I'm not a big sports numerology bro. Not a big and maybe I should be, because I know it's a huge aspect of the Top Shot marketplace, and it is in the physical world too. But yeah, the number 6 LeBron serials have made a comeback. The number 623 LeBron serials have made a comeback. The number 23-6 LeBron serials have made a big comeback now that he switched jerseys. So excited for my boy LeBron. Let's hope him and Russ and AD find a way to figure out how to share one basketball. Hopefully they can put enough shooters around them, as it seems like they're dealing with every possible injury at wing depth to start the season. No Kendrick Nunn, no Wayne Ellington, no Trevor Ariza. Man, if we could just get a couple shooters around those guys, I would feel a whole lot better.
So you say all that. How do you feel that I bet Warriors money line plus 140, whatever I got it at earlier today?
Oh, I was listening to the show earlier, and I heard Dink mention that he was on Warriors money line. So.
He actually, or somebody, I don't know if it was him or somebody else in Slack, convinced me on it way early in the day. And then I was looking at a minute stuff, and I'm like, man, this Lakers team really is thin, as you just mentioned tonight. So anyway, we're down because I become a we when I'm betting on a team. We're down right now. 59-53 at the half. So hoping for a second half Warriors win, but wishing you the best of luck for this NBA season to your Lakers. I'm going to the Garden tomorrow night to watch our Knicks. RJ Barrett, year 3. The guy looks big. The guy looks ready to go. He was hitting some open shots in the preseason. I think we get another RJ Barrett leap year here, my friend Cody. I'm very excited.
Man, I am excited for RJ Barrett. I need a leap for the physical cards that I'm holding on to, although I will never sell those things. So if you ever see anything listed RJ Barrett wise, I promise it's not me. Although, hey, I might actually take some profits if the dude takes another leap this season. But RJ Barrett's got some awesome stuff on Top Shot as well. Some of the best moments on the platform, as we mentioned last week. His Series 1 MGLE was more expensive than Michael Porter Jr.'s. It's one of those very rare 3-badge Top Shot debut rookie moments from Series 1. That MGLE moment right now is currently low ask of $2,389. If we think RJ is going to be what RJ is, or what we think he can become, I think that moment has some room for growth. A New York guy, obviously, we know how huge that market is. Love anything that I can get my hands on RJ wise, and I know you do as well, whether it's for the PC or whether it's an investment piece.
Yeah, one last physical card I actually want to bring up. When we're talking about the Knicks here. So Kemba Walker, newest addition to the Knicks, perennial all-star for the last decade. He was a rookie in 2011, meaning he was a part of that dual 2011-2012 Prism class. I was doing some research as I was just getting myself amped up for this Knicks team. That is a criminally underpriced card for who has been, a multi-time all-star, all-NBA guy. His silver 2012 rookie Prism, it's only got a pop of 24. So if you could find it, there are some buy it nows out there on eBay, is card ladder value of only $400 right now.
Crazy.
He's going to play in New York. He's got at least 2 years on the Knicks here on the big stage. He looks solid in the preseason. I know the best Kemba days are behind us, but for a guy that has been one of the 5 to 10 best point guards of the last decade, that card should be a higher price card. The silver, you know how rare those things are of the 2012 silver Prism, the PSA 10. If you can get that thing, get it. Just the base is a good card to me. Base PSA 10, pop of 468. Is a $100 card.
That's crazy.
We're talking the 2012 Prism. I just bought a Draymond one of these last night for $150. That's Draymond Green. I get he's probably a Hall of Famer over Kemba, but that's just because of the rings. Kemba's a point guard who's about to play in New York for a couple of years. And let me tell you this, New York fans, a lot of card collectors in New York. He's a New York kid. We're so excited to have Kemba Walker on the Knicks. I think that card goes up as long as he stays healthy this year. That's it. I'm excited about that card.
1 second, because $400 for a 2000, anyone from that iconic 2012 Prism class, silver, $400 for Kemba Walker. You have to spend $400 to buy a silver Jordan Poole PSA 10 from the 2019 Prism class. That thing's already got a pop of 388. You can't tell me that Jordan Poole is better than Kemba Walker, and it's all driven off this ultra-modern hype. It's all driven off of his preseason hype. But, man, if there's a bottom to fall out on a card, I would much rather buy the Kemba than, a Jordan Poole right now that's $400. I'm excited about Jordan Poole. I understand the market dynamics of this ultra-modern craze that we're all in right now, and that everything ultra-modern seems to continue to go up and up and up on these parallel and colored refractors. And some of this older stuff just is stagnant and has no movement. But, man, Kemba, like you said, if they make another run, simply being in New York, you would think would have a boost as well. They're going to be in plenty of primetime games. He's going to be on the big stage quite a bit, playing alongside Julius Randle and RJ Barrett. I mean, I'm very, very, very excited about him and his market. I just found it crazy that someone that has the longevity, despite not being at the point of his career where we're as excited about what's to come, what he's done in his career, to only be valued at $400 out of that class compared to somebody like Jordan Poole from the 2019 class, who has really yet to do anything. It just seems wild to me.
And obviously take that number with a grain of salt, given that it's a pop count of 24. But the point is, if you could find it for anywhere but under the $700-800, whatever,
sure,
for any of those 2012 silvers slabbed up, I mean, it's just, you're not going to get anything better than that for, as you just mentioned, a proven, all-star, somebody that is very well respected, has had a great career. You're not going to, you're right. You hit the nail on the head. So no doubt about it. Pumped about the Knicks, man. Pumped about the Knicks.
Very excited about your Knicks. Somewhat excited about my Lakers. Kind of lukewarm on my Lakers right now. We'll see what happens with the wing depth over the coming weeks and months, and if we can put any shooters around those three ball dominant guys that also can't shoot that well. We'll leave it at that. Very excited to have had Noah on, and very excited for what they are launching. Go check them out again at I Got It Auction on Twitter. Check out the Discord community, a bunch of people in there talking about what they have to come. If you happen to see Mikey Williams on ESPN, check that out for sure.
Yeah, I believe Jalen and Jacoby, I believe.
Going to be awesome. Going to be super awesome. Very excited for those guys. Noah's been a good friend. Very excited for the relationship that we're building with those guys. So check that out. Discord.gg/IGI. Go check it all out, man. Thanks again for being here, you guys. We will be back next week with a lot more NFL talk, because the NFL MVP race is really heating up. There's a lot of names at the top. The NFL Super Bowl race, I think there's as many names, as many teams that can come away with a Super Bowl victory this year than I've ever seen in years past. So many good teams at the top of the league right now, and I would love to dive into some of those card markets. So we will be back for that discussion next week. For Gary, I am Cody. I'll see you later.
Take care, everyone. Enjoy the hoops.